Hello, I'm Aaron Ditzler. I'm the Assistant City Engineer for the City of Edina, and I work in the Engineering Department. I want to thank you for joining us to learn about roadway reconstruction scheduled for 2021 in your neighborhoods. The majority of this presentation is going to be general in nature about all street reconstruction projects, and some of it will be specific to your particular neighborhood.
And I'm Charlie Girk, a project engineer with the City of Edina. Hopefully you'll learn something from these videos today. We anticipate that they'll generate some questions, and we are more than happy to answer those for you.
Here's a summary of our agenda. We're going to go over introductions to the engineering department. We're going to talk about why we're reconstructing your streets. We're going to go over the project scopes, including roadway and utility improvements, as well as what you can expect, the funding sources, including the estimated assessment ranges, the typical project timeline, communication, including how we're going to communicate with you and how you can provide input to us. We're going to talk about how you can prepare for street reconstruction, and we'll conclude with the different ways you can ask us questions. This is your city engineering department. These are the staff you're going to be in communication with throughout the project. You may have already noticed some of our engineering technicians performing topographic survey in your neighborhoods. During construction, our engineering technicians are on site typically daily, observing the contractor, as well as confirming that the work is meeting our specifications.
There are two reconstruction projects proposed for 2021. The Melody Lake neighborhood is located in central Edina. There are approximately 309 properties within the project limits and has primarily local streets with the exception of Benton Avenue and Hanson Road. Benton Avenue will not be reconstructed as part of this project as it is a state aid route and has recently had a large maintenance project completed. The Creek Knoll neighborhood is located in the northeast side of Edina. There are approximately 113 properties within the project limits and has primarily local streets. The neighborhood borders Minneapolis, and Minneapolis will be providing some cost sharing for 54th Street. People often wonder why my street. Originally, as part of the initial street reconstruction program, streets were grouped into neighborhoods. Instead of picking and choosing streets randomly throughout the city for reconstruction, it was decided to choose neighborhoods. These neighborhood groupings allow for economy of scale for reconstruction and maintenance projects. By maximizing maintenance areas, pavement life is extended because more pavement can be reconstructed and maintained. In addition to neighborhoods being created, the city also started a proactive pavement management program. As part of this program, pavement conditions are evaluated every 4 years and given a rating of 0 to 100. 0 is a filled roadway or gravel road, 100 is a new roadway. When pavement conditions in a neighborhood average below a certain threshold, the neighborhood is placed into the reconstruction planning process. In addition to pavement condition, the city also reviews the condition of any public underground utility or need for additional utilities as part of the street reconstruction program. The age of original construction is a factor, however, isn't typically the driving force for any project.
So why are we proposing full street reconstruction? The streets were originally constructed in the 1940s to 1980s. Some of them are nearly 80 years old. You can see some of the streets that are in poor condition as noted in the photograph. There's also utility issues to address beneath the roadway. And at this age and condition, street reconstruction is more cost effective than other maintenance strategies like mill and overlay and seal coat. Existing roadway conditions. The pavement is reaching the end of its useful life. Some of the streets are in very poor condition as shown in the photograph. Some streets have curb and gutter and some do not. Curb and gutter does help maintain the structural integrity of the pavement, particularly along the edge of the pavement. Some properties already have concrete driveway aprons and some do not.
We're also going to assess the existing conditions of the utilities in your neighborhood. We're going to look at the water main, and we're going to analyze the existing pipes with some non-invasive technology. If those pipes show loss in wall thickness, we're going to consider them for reconstruction. We're also going to see if there's any undersized water mains in your neighborhood, and if there are, we're going to replace them. We're going to look at the sanitary sewer and see if there's any localized defects, cracks, breaks, sags. We're going to replace those. We're also going to see if there's any inflow and infiltration occurring in that sanitary sewer system. And if there is, we're going to fix it. We're going to look at your storm sewer, see if there's deficiencies in the structures of the catch basins or the pipes themselves. We're going to look at the pipes and see if they're undersized. And then we're also going to look at your curb and gutter to see if it's failing, and if it is, we're going to replace it. We're also going to look at the right-of-way and look at what's in it. City staff will inventory and assess private infrastructure in the public right-of-way. Some private infrastructure might include unique or extensive landscaping, sidewalks from the roadway to the resident's home, steps, mailboxes, and other decorative features. We will also identify any irrigation systems or pet fences that will likely be disturbed by our construction project. All of these items will be repaired, reinstalled, or replaced as part of the reconstruction project. As construction nears, our project team will coordinate with individual homeowners any needs their particular property may have with regards to these items.
What is the right-of-way, and where is it located in relation to your street? The right-of-way is typically for public streets, alleys, sidewalks, and public and private utilities. As referenced in the exhibit, the right-of-way is typically 60 feet wide for local streets and 66 feet wide for municipal state aid streets. Municipal state aid streets are typically your higher volume streets and your non-county roads. Many of your streets are roughly 30 feet wide today. That leaves an additional 15 feet of right-of-way on either side of the roadway. We survey a portion of your property corners to determine the right-of-way location. I bring this up because the contractor may be utilizing the majority of the 60-foot right-of-way for construction or storage of materials. Proposed roadway improvements. We're proposing concrete curb and gutter where no curb and gutter exists today. We're also proposing replacement of curb and gutter, either all of it or just portions of it. Curb and gutter replacement is primarily based on either the condition of the existing curb or the potential for utility improvements that may impact the curb and gutter. Subgrade corrections may be needed. If the soils underneath the pavement are soft and spongy, we'll replace those with more stable soils. A new gravel roadbed and asphalt pavement surface will be installed. There are concrete streets along a portion of these neighborhoods. Those concrete streets will be replaced with asphalt pavement.
Other proposed improvements include modern design elements such as the Edina Living Streets Plan that was adopted by the Edina City Council in 2015. The Edina Living Streets Plan creates a set of standards that balances needs of motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians, and transit riders by incorporating minimum roadway design elements. The Living Street Plan also allows for uniform build-out of the pedestrian and bicycle master plan, which includes sidewalks, bike paths, and active routes to schools. As part of the Living Streets Plan, typical roadway sections were developed to be incorporated in reconstruction projects. The majority of the streets in the 2021 projects are local streets without sidewalks. Typically, they will measure 27 feet from the face of curb to face of curb, offer 2 lanes of traffic, and parking on both sides of the street. More information regarding living streets and the typical sections can be found on Better Together Edina.
Proposed driveway improvements. For projects getting new concrete curb and gutter, the end of your driveway will be impacted by construction. Therefore, aprons will be replaced or installed to comply with city standards. If you have special driveway materials that are impacted by construction, we'll replace those in kind to the best of our ability. Examples of special driveway materials include paver blocks, colored concrete, stamped concrete, and exposed aggregate. If you hire a contractor to replace a portion of or your entire driveway during construction, the city will reimburse you at the city's contract price for the portion impacted by the street reconstruction. This is optional. If you do not hire a contractor to replace your driveway during construction, this reimbursement is not available, and the city's contractor will repair the driveway that's impacted by construction. Proposed utility improvements. These may include localized water main and service replacements. We will be looking at the condition of the existing water main pipe to determine if there's any pipe loss. We'll also be looking at a history of water main breaks. We're proposing new fire hydrants to meet the city standard, as well as replacing gate valves. This may include localized sanitary sewer repairs and rehabilitation. This may include cured-in-place pipelining, which will minimize infiltration and provide structural pipe support. We'll be looking at storm sewer upgrades, which include potential replacement or extension of storm sewer pipes.
When feasible and warranted, the city installs a sump drain line with reconstruction projects. This line is provided to allow homeowners to directly connect their sump lines to the city storm sewer network. The city encourages residents to connect to this line when possible, but it is not mandatory. City staff will notify residents when the line can be connected to, and a homeowner will need to hire a private contractor to do the work, and a permit is required to do so.
Utility ownership, referencing water services and sanitary sewer services. City of Edina owns the water service from the main in the street to the water shutoff. That water service is noted in the exhibit with the letter A. The water shutoff is noted with the letter E. Residents own the water service from the home to the water shutoff. That resident-owned service is noted with the letter B. Residents own the sanitary sewer service from the home to the main out in the street. That pipe is noted with the letters C and D. Many of the resident-owned services may be nearing the end of their useful life. Therefore, we recommend inspecting private services prior to construction. If you do inspect your services and deem that they need to be replaced, the repairs and upgrades can be coordinated during the street reconstruction work. Repairs or upgrades can also be added to your special assessment. These repairs or upgrades are optional. However, if a repair of the sanitary sewer service is necessary after street reconstruction is complete and the street is damaged due to the repair, it can be much more expensive than if it was completed during street reconstruction. Therefore, we do emphasize inspecting your private services prior to construction.
There could be pedestrian and bicycle improvements as part of your project. Proposed bicycle and pedestrian routes are based on the Pedestrian and Bicyclist Master Plan, which was developed as part of the 2014 Comprehensive Plan Update and incorporated into the Living Street Plan. Final design and evaluation are based on network consistency and construction conflicts.
Private utilities, gas, electric, telephone, and cable may upgrade or repair their utilities before construction begins. It's more likely that's going to occur during construction. For example, CenterPoint Energy may be upgrading their gas mains during construction. They may also choose to upgrade the gas services to resident homes. There may be potential city-required relocations. It's possible that street reconstruction may require Xcel Energy to relocate a utility pole. Our goal is to streamline the projects, both the private utility project and the street reconstruction project, and minimize neighborhood disturbance. We want to avoid private utilities coming in a year or two after construction is complete and tearing up the new asphalt road surface or the lawn in the city right away. Streetlight upgrades are typically not included with the project. We did mail you a postcard that did include a questionnaire. One of the questions was about streetlight upgrades. Streetlight upgrades are dependent on your comments in the questionnaire. If streetlight upgrades are recommended by the property owners, it's critical to note that the streetlight upgrades are 100% assessed to the residents. What can you expect during street reconstruction? Dust, mud, noise, and vibrations. You can also expect localized flooding during rainfall. Once that pavement surface has been removed, stormwater can have a more difficult time draining to a storm drain. You can also expect occasional delays due to inclement weather. Residents will also be asked to limit water use occasionally. An example of this is during sanitary sewer lining. You'll be asked to limit your water use for a period of hours and not days. Homes may be connected to a temporary water main. This is if the water main is replaced in front of your home. You'll be without water for a period of hours and not days. You may also see things like concrete stockpiled along the edge of the roadway. Instances like this, the roadways will remain passable and access to driveways will be maintained.
Space during reconstruction projects can be limited, and while city staff and our contractors do their best to locate storage areas within or near the project limits, project materials can and will be stored within the city right-of-way, including yards. Recall that the typical city right-of-way is typically 60 feet. Most often, yards are used for storing utility pipes and their related parts. Our contractors do try to minimize the amount of space encroached on, and typically you will see 5 to 10 feet beyond the curb used for this purpose. Construction equipment is stored typically within the roadway and on the roadway base. There will likely be tree removals as part of your project. While we do our best to protect all the trees within project areas, there are times when trees will need to be removed. City staff will notify and work with residents that have tree removals proposed. There might be times when you are unable to access your driveway. Some instances might be a few minutes in length, some might be a week in length. Those instances that are a few minutes in length will be unpredictable, and our contractors will work as fast as they can to provide you access. Utility work can limit access up to a full day, while curb and gutter and driveway aprons can limit access for up to a week. For those times that are longer, notice will be given that access will be limited at least 24 hours in advance.
Items within the city's 60-foot right-of-way may be damaged. You can remove plants or other landscaping features before the project if there's something that's near and dear to your heart. Otherwise, we will replace plants and landscaping features to the best of our ability. Irrigation and pet fences will likely be damaged. They'll also be repaired. Disturbed areas will be seeded and hydro-mulched. We are going to provide opportunities for input. Please recall we mailed you a postcard with a questionnaire. Hopefully you had a chance to respond to that questionnaire. We're going to keep you informed. Stay tuned for future slides on this one. We're going to do our best to minimize inconveniences. It's going to be dusty, dirty, and loud. There may be large equipment operating in front of your driveway. We will do our best to minimize these inconveniences. Our contractor is going to accommodate residents with special access needs. Examples of this include metro mobility or unique medical access needs. We'll want to know about these prior to construction, so reach out to us.
City utility funds. Utility improvements are paid for through the city utility funds. These funds are established by the collection of utility service charges. You can see a breakdown of these charges on your most recent city utility bill. 100% of the costs related to water main, sanitary sewer, storm sewer improvements, including curb and gutter, driveway aprons, and the sump drain line, are paid for by these funds. Pedestrian and Cyclist Safety Fund. The PACS fund is revenue generated from Xcel Energy and CenterPoint Energy franchise fees, which can be viewed on your most recent utility bills. The goal of these funds is to promote non-motorized transportation throughout the city. 100% of the cost for sidewalks, shared use paths, bike lanes, and other work associated with these improvements are paid for by the PACS fund. These improvements used to be assessed to residents.
Let's review your taxes and their relation to street reconstruction projects. Please note the pie chart showing the distribution of your taxes. If you notice the green slice of pie, approximately 20% of your property taxes go to the city for expenses including police, fire, parks, and public works. Included in that 20% is snow plowing, pothole repairs, and other street maintenance like seal coating, overlays, patch repairs, and pavement rejuvenation. Unfortunately, there's not enough tax dollars remaining to pay for street reconstruction. Therefore, special assessments are necessary. Special assessments are assigned to benefiting properties of public improvements. Assessments cover 100% of the roadway costs for local streets. Assessments cover 20% of the roadway costs for municipal state aid roadways. MSA roadways are your higher volume roads that are non-county roads. Examples of roadway costs that are assessed include roadway and driveway removals, subgrade materials, asphalt pavement, and restoration. Also included are indirect costs like engineering, finance-related costs, soil investigations, and mailings. Not included in the assessments are improvements related to water main, storm sewer, sanitary sewer, sump drain, curb and gutter, and sidewalks.
Assessments are based on residential equivalent units, or REUs. The typical REU factor in a neighborhood reconstruction project is a single-family home, which has an REU factor of 1. Multifamily properties have an REU factor of 0.8 for duplexes and twin homes, or an REU factor of 0.5 for apartments and condos. Properties that have side streets adjacent to them outside the project limits will have a 50% reduction factor applied for their REU calculation. When the other adjoining streets are reconstructed, another assessment will be applied for the remaining 50% REU. Your property's portion of the assessment is your REU factor divided by the total number of REUs multiplied by the total assessment amount. Other land use types have different REU factors. For more information about the assessment policy, please contact city staff.
Let's talk project specifics regarding Melody Lake A and B, Grandview A, and Birchcrest C neighborhood grouping. Excluded from the project area is Benton Avenue. That is a municipal state aid street. Those are reconstructed separately from local streets. There are 309 properties, an equivalent 303.02 REUs, 3.88 miles of road. We're proposing full replacement of water main and water services. That's based on our testing of the water main and some loss of the thickness of that water main pipe. We're proposing full replacement and installation of concrete curb and gutter. That's primarily due to the condition of the existing curb as well as replacement of the existing services impacting that curb and gutter. We're proposing 5-foot concrete sidewalk on the west side of Hanson Road and the south side of West 56th Street. The pedestrian and bicycle master plan also shows a 5-foot concrete sidewalk along West 56th Street between Code Avenue and Normandale Road. That sidewalk is outside the project limits. We are considering installing that sidewalk in 2021 with this project area or in a future year as a separate project.
Creek Knoll A and B. There's approximately 113 properties within the project limits and 114.6 REUs. We're planning on reconstructing 1.3 miles of road with full replacement or new installation of curb and gutter throughout the project with the exception of Ewing Circle. Beard Avenue will have the installation of a sidewalk from Minnehaha Creek to 54th Street, and there will be localized water main improvements throughout the project.
Preliminary assessments. Assessment amounts per REU are determined by 100% of the roadway project cost divided by the number of REUs. The preliminary estimated assessment ranges per REU are for Melody Lake, Grandview, and Birchcrest, $17,700 to $24,200 per REU, and for Creek Knoll, $12,500 to $18,100 per REU. Generally, when you compare the amount of asphalt paving per REU, the higher the value, the more expensive the assessment amount, which is true in this case, 176 to 141. The lower the square yards of paving per REU, typically the higher housing density in that project area. But the primary reason for the higher assessment amount for Melody Lake, Grandview, and Birchcrest is due to the poor subgrade soils underneath the asphalt pavement that need replacement with more stable soils. The generally sandy soils of Creek Knoll, we estimate just over $100,000 of subgrade repairs, and the generally soft clay soils of Melody Lake, Grandview, and Birchcrest, we estimate $1.5 million for subgrade repairs. These subgrade repairs are spread over the number of residential equivalent units in each project area. These assessment amounts are estimated. The higher end of the range does include a 15% contingency. We do hope these estimated assessment ranges do go down after contractor bidding. The actual assessment amounts won't be determined until after construction is complete. Typical project timeline for street reconstruction: July through September, engineering studies begin and the estimated assessment ranges are provided. December 2020 will be the public hearing. You'll be invited to that meeting. This is where the council will decide whether or not to move forward with the design of the project. January through March will be design, plan preparation, and contractor bidding. Construction will begin in the spring. You will be notified when construction is scheduled to begin. Construction will conclude in the fall 2021. Warranty work will occur in 2022, and the final assessment hearing scheduled for October 2022.
Assessment timing. After city staff finalizes our engineering studies, a public hearing will be held in December of this year. You will receive notice of the exact time and date of this hearing, and you are welcome to participate in it. Following the public hearing, pending project approval, construction will be completed through the summer of 2021. Final cost for assessments will be calculated and submitted for a final assessment hearing in October of 2022. Pending approval of the assessment will be filed with Hennepin County in November of 2022 and will appear on your January 2023 tax statement. There are a few options when it comes to paying off your assessment. Final assessment mailing will note the following payment options. You can pay the entire amount within 30 days upon receiving the bill to avoid future interest charges. You can pay a minimum of 25% on the amount due, and the balance remaining rolls over to your property taxes, and you can pay over 15 years with interest on the remaining balance. You can roll the entire amount to your property taxes over 15 years with interest on the remaining balance. Payments may also be deferred if you are 65 years of age or older and meet specific income requirements. Interest charges are 1% over the city's borrowing interest rate to cover borrowing costs. In 2019, the interest rate was 3.92%. Additional assessment information can be discussed with our assessing department.
Here's how we're going to communicate with you. Through regular mail for all meetings, public hearings, and questionnaires. Recall we sent you a postcard with a questionnaire. Hopefully you had a chance to fill that out. We're also going to mail you a final assessment notice, likely in September 2022. We're also going to communicate with you through door hangers and flyers. This is time-sensitive information. Can't emphasize enough how important it is to be checking your front door during construction on a daily basis for time-sensitive information. Examples include how long you'll be without water during water shutoffs. This will be a period of hours and not days. It'll also include things like where to park after concrete's been poured. It'll also include any other time-sensitive information for temporary inaccessibility. We're also going to communicate with you via Better Together Edina, the city's website project page. Better Together Edina is the best way to stay informed. There are 2 unique project web pages set up for each of the 2021 project areas. One is bettertogetheredina.org/Melody Birchcrest, the other being /Creek Knoll AB. There'll be periodic updates on project progress and schedules. Updates during the summer, fall, and winter will be sporadic during major milestones, and during construction you can anticipate weekly updates.
Providing input. We need your input and help to make your project successful. A questionnaire was mailed to your home in June of this year or last year for properties north of Grove Street in the Melody Lake Project area. Please fill it out and return it. We can't solve problems that we don't know exist. The questionnaire covers traffic and pedestrian issues, street drainage issues, and street light upgrades. However, as mentioned previously, street light upgrades are assessed to the residents. Also, at the public improvement hearing in December, you will have the opportunity to voice comments or concerns to the City Council. This is the meeting where the City Council will decide whether or not to move forward with the project. To date, our questionnaire results have had a low response rate. We encourage you to fill out the questionnaire and return it.
So how can you prepare for street reconstruction? Complete the project questionnaire. Again, we mailed you a postcard back in June. Hopefully you had a chance to fill out that questionnaire on Better Together Edina. Begin financial planning. These projects are expensive and can be a financial burden, so please plan ahead. Coordinate home and yard improvement projects around the street reconstruction schedule. If you can help it, you might want to hold off on a private driveway replacement until during construction after curb and gutter has been installed. Otherwise, your new driveway will be impacted by construction. If you're thinking about doing a landscaping project, we recommend that you hold off until after street reconstruction is complete. You can also prepare by reviewing the Better Together Edina updates and ask questions and stay informed. Please contact us. You can either call us or email us, either myself or Liz Moore, our engineering coordinator. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, you can't stop by the Public Works facility. It is closed to the public. So just reach out to us by calling us or sending us an email. Otherwise, you can send us a question on Better Together Edina, the project webpage. There is a Q&A button. You can submit your question electronically. An example is shown on the slide. Otherwise, if you're more comfortable, give us a call or send us an email. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found this video informational. We're sure it's going to generate questions. We look forward to answering those questions. We also look forward to improving your streets. Thank you.